Jump into these 1 o'clocks. First one, Pittsburgh Steelers going in the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo
Ooh.
Bills with a big 14-point favorite here.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I understand the Steelers' offense is, been subpar, and this Bills team is really good. But 14 points is a lot. I'm taking the Bills here. They should win this one, but Steelers being within 14 is almost easy money to me if I'm putting money on these games. Kenny Pickett, we talked about, Nick brought up the question, is it Kenny Pickett time? And then I said no. And then, I looked at the schedule. They have a tough schedule. They get Buffalo this week, and then they get Tampa, and then they get Miami, then they get Philly, then they get New Orleans. They got nothing but tough defenses. There's no good time for Kenny Pickett to show up. So I guess throw him in there now. This Bills team is a rough one. That's a rough first go. They're the number one QB pressure defense in the league, and they only blitz 8% of the time. They blitz hardly ever. They're getting this much pressure with 4 guys.
Yeah,
and then everybody else.
Defense.
Everybody else is in coverage.
Gregory Rousseau has 4 sacks.
But it'll be a good. It should. I won't say good football. It'll be the Bills winning, but I don't think they're going to be winning by more than 14.
You don't think they cover? All right.
Gregory Rousseau's got 4 sacks on a season. Defensive end for Buffalo. This Miami Hurricane. This Kenny Pickett show is going to take off. It just stinks that we get to have to see it take off against Buffalo and that pretty damn good defense. They've been playing elite. You'd like to see them maybe say come in against anybody else. But, the defense is playing really good for Buffalo. I really like Kenny Pickett. I think he's the future. I think he's going to do phenomenal. I think that's what the team needs. I think they're doing it the best way they can to try and stay relevant right now with the situation in Pittsburgh and how things are unfolding. No more Roethlisberger. They're doing everything they can to continue to be a contending team in a division in which is really crazy, and it's a strong division. But I got to jump on the side of Brady here. I got to snatch up Buffalo. That defense is just really good against everything. Probably against my opinions, bro. They'll knock them down and sack them. I don't know. I'm taking Buffalo here, Charlie. I don't know. How about you?
All good stuff. Buffalo's defense, despite all those injuries, they're still top 3, I believe, in defensive categories. Playing phenomenal, and they played some good offenses. I got to go Buffalo. I think Buffalo covers. I think Buffalo covers because Josh Allen treats this game as don't even put me in the same league as Kenny Pickett right now. I'm playing at an elite level, and I'll show you why I'm playing at an elite level. I think Pickett's going to have his moments. I got to give it to Nick. I thought it was going to take a little bit more time, but I think ultimately the right call. But you guys are right. Bad situation for him to be making his first start. The kid's a gamer. He's got the right attitude. I think long term he's got the makeup, the moxie, the intangibles to be successful. I just think against Buffalo, by the end of the game, it's going to be a tough hurdle because he's missing, that guy TJ Watt, which is such a havoc wreaker on the defensive side for Pittsburgh. I think it'll show up ultimately in the end score. I like this one like 31-14. I think Buffalo handles business. I think this is one of those stamp games that Buffalo was not able to do last year. I think this is a different Buffalo team, a more mature, a more focused Buffalo team. I think they are still reeling off of the way last season ended, and I think they handle business there.
All right, Bills across the board. He'll be. I hope to see something good out of Kenny Pickett and him not to get hurt, because that'd be sad for him to first game starting for him to get beat up on, because that O line's bad and this Bills defense is true test.
I think it's just going to be tough. I think the Bills are going to make it tough on him to continue to move the ball down the field, because I think Buffalo is going to be able to score regularly, and they're going to have to change a little bit of the game plan that you would think would work for a rookie quarterback making his first start. I think they're going to have to abandon a lot of things quickly and try to catch up, and it's going to be more featuring Kenny Pickett because of necessity to try to win the game, and I think that's going to spell bad news with that pass rush. I know Von Miller, I read a couple of things of what he was thinking about, coming in to face Kenny Pickett, and Von Miller's focused. Von Miller wants another championship. He's dialed in. He's not treating this as a 14-point spread was the basis of the question. And he's already shown to have such an influence on that front four of Buffalo that they rotate in. They're banged up as can be in the secondary. I think they're down every starter that they would have projected coming into this year. There are going to be some spots for Pickett to shine a little bit, and the weapons there for Pittsburgh are definitely good, but I think it's going to be a tough one for Pittsburgh.
I agree.
Yep. All right, let's move on. You got the Los Angeles Chargers coming into the Cleveland Browns. Chargers are a 2.5-point favorite here. Chargers just got a victory over the Houston Texans, a little bit of a shootout there, kind of keeping the score up high. They got 34 on them, and then the Browns just lost to Atlanta. Almost in like a running game. Who's the better run team? Because Atlanta's looking a good run team. That's a different category we can talk about. But I like the Browns here. This looks a lot how last year when the Browns ran all over them. I mean, like bad. I think the Browns had like 40 minutes of time of possession. Chubb's still insane this year. This man has 32 broken tackles on the year. That's 10 more than the next closest guy. And not to add on top of that, this Chargers run defense is not looking good this year, and they're also the worst run team in the league. So they're going to be hard if they do have a lead to control time and take the ball away from the Browns team, who can just run down your throat and drive down the ball and score. I'm liking the Browns here on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm gonna take Cleveland too. I really want to take the Chargers. Bosa going down and everything. It's really, that defense is starting to unfold. It's only week 5. Cleveland's really good against the pass, and they're decent against the rush. I think that the Brady sold me on them controlling the game, running the ball, and the Chargers still haven't proved to me that they're going to be an elite run-stopping defense. This is the second leading rusher in the league right now, Chubb. And and then they still have a stable. You got Hunt. You also have Jerome Ford. You got some guys with different skill sets for Cleveland that can come out and do different things in case some way somehow they shut Chubb down. You want to get Hunt the ball in the backfield, or even Ford out there. He might even be injured. I'm not sure, but you do have Chubb and Hunt. I like Cleveland. I like them to run the ball early and often in this. I don't know about you, Charlie, but I'm taking Cleveland.
It's tough. The Chargers are exactly the same Chargers as last year, and they were supposed to be so much better. We would all these splashy, signings, J.C. Jackson, bring over Khalil Mack. Defense is supposed to be shored up. Didn't change. It's still all about Herbert and scoring more points than the other team does. It's tough for me. You brought up last week's game. The Texans were in it. They were 7 points down until, late in the fourth quarter. Both of these teams played to the level of their competition. Cleveland's defense has been pretty porous considering the talent. I know Myles Garrett practiced for the first time since the car accident this week. Jadeveon Clowney's still banged up. But, Cleveland's recipe for their 2 wins has been run the ball. Chubb's been phenomenal. It's tough. I'm going to go San Diego, but they're banged up as well. The Bosa's, before mentioned Bosa, J.C. Jackson's still not 100%. You got Keenan Allen still banged up. You got Joshua Palmer banged up.
Keenan Allen's out this week.
Yeah, so it's tough. I think ultimately it's San Diego. I think this is just like any of the games that Cleveland has played so far this year, which it's a 3 to 4 point game. They feel like the Minnesota Vikings from last year, where it's just like who's going to make or miss the field goal at the end of the game. I'm going to take the Chargers. I like Herbert more than I than I do Jacoby. Herbert has definitely taken some steps up in my book, even watching him this year as well, last year especially. The toughness is definitely there. The willingness to get his team and give it every drop he's got in the tank. So I'm going to go with the Chargers there.
Khalil Mack, 5 sacks on the year. The most sacks in the league right now is Nick Bosa, little brother of Joey Bosa from the Chargers, 6 sacks.
Which is good to see. Good to see, because that's been a dude that's been banged up.
Herbert's only been sacked 4 times, least in the league, so it'll be a tough matchup.
Hitting you with the
I did see for Cleveland that Greedy Williams is coming off of IR. I don't know if he's in this game or if he's playing or how much he's practicing, but he's coming back from IR, so that'll help. If he is, healthy off of IR coming in, he's fully healed, that'll be a good help to slow down that Chargers pass game, because that's going to be a tough match. I just think time of possession is the key here, and that falls in favor of the Browns.
Greedy Williams.
You guys are absolutely right. I think that's a huge factor. I just think the Chargers can score and they can get themselves in position to score quickly. So if it comes and Cleveland has not stopped anybody this year. I mean, we thought that, that was how they were going to earn these wins until you maybe got Deshaun back later. But the Jets and last week against Atlanta, those are not potent offenses. Although both those teams have played very well this year, those are teams that you would figure Cleveland would kind of shut down and control the game, just like you guys are talking about.
Yeah. All right. Next game, though. Got the Chicago Bears going into Minnesota Vikings. Divisional matchup here. Vikings being a 7.5-point favorite. They're coming back from their win in London last week over the New Orleans Saints. Bears lost to the Giants. Only managed to scrape up 4 field goals there. I haven't seen almost anything from this Chicago offense outside of Khalil Herbert looking like a true runner. And that should only benefit Fields, but he's just not developing off of that. He's not playing well this year, unfortunately. So I got to go Vikings here. It's not that the Vikings are going to create a whole lot of havoc for that on defense to slow down this Bears team, but they're good enough on offense to outpace however many points this Bears team can put up.
I agree, Brady. I can't even. I really don't have much more to add. He hasn't thrown for a lot of passing yards this year. I feel like the offensive line isn't doing him a justice. He's running for his life on a lot of plays. They have him rushing more plays than they have throwing. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do over there in Chicago. They're just trying to get right over there. They're just trying to find out something that works for him, what he feels comfortable doing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm going Minnesota here because I believe if some way, somehow it gets into a shootout, definitely Minnesota, Jefferson, Thielen, these guys are going to be able to put up more, score more points quicker in less amount of time. In my mind, I mean, you got Roquan Smith playing good ball. You got the rookie Brisker, Penn State playing real good. I would have liked to see Justin Fields take a bigger leap this year than he has, but it's been tough sledding for that team, for that offensive line. I gotta go Minnesota here. They're just showing me they're the better team in the 5 weeks that I've seen. I don't know, Charlie.
You guys are talking the right stuff. The Justin Fields situation kind of reminds me of the Daniel Jones situation and what he had to go through, which was just a bunch of chaos, new coaches, and a kid that you can see is talented, but that the offense just it's not even available to him.
100%. He's definitely talented. He's definitely talented.
I liked what he did last week against the Giants. There wasn't any turnovers. He combined for about 275, 50 on the ground, $174 in the air. Again, no turnovers, but they've got a ways to go in Chicago. I don't put it on him in particular at this point in time. The defense has played well. I agree with you guys. At the end of the day, though, Minnesota is further along the trail. They've shown more. I like it a 27-20 game. I think Chicago finds a way between the balance between, as well as Herbert's been running the ball and as well as the defense has played for Chicago, they really have kept them in games. I feel like if it was just a little bit different, they could be like a Giants sitting at 3-1 type of situation, even with as shoddy as the offenses look passing the ball. But I think at the end of the day, it's Vikings.
Defense has been the bright spot. If we had to choose something on this squad, what it is that is emanating from it, I would argue that it is the defense. Surprisingly enough, you lose Hicks, you lose Mack. You have the whole turmoil with Roquan. What's gonna happen? Sign me. I'm holding out. I'm sitting. They get it squared away. He says, "We'll worry about it at the end of the season. I'm gonna just play anyway."
Well said.
So, yeah.
Well said. I agree.
Yeah, not much to add here. I mean, I want more out of this Chicago team. I mean, it's not just on field, but the fact that Kupp has more receptions than Fields has completions, and then Diggs and Hill are on the nipping point of being above that margin too.
That's crazy.
Is crazy.
Yeah,
he's not even getting the attempts though. Too. I mean,
again, I said it's not on Fields. It's on that Chicago offense as a whole. Because it's tough over there.
I agree.
It's tough to see what you got when there's not
there is good opportunities here for this Bears team to do what they do well at, because this Vikings team is in the bottom 25% area for a run defense. Let the Bears develop a run game. And then when it comes to passing, they're the league worst. They're giving up almost 70%. They're letting quarterbacks complete passes. So just slow things down, Chicago. Slow things down. You don't need to force things. Things don't have to be 40-yard plays. Let things develop.
Similar recipe to the Giants and Green Bay, I think.
Yeah, very true.
I just don't think Chicago's got it together enough. I think the Giants are ahead of them on that schedule.
Yeah, but we'll go into the next game here. Everyone's going Vikings there. We want to see more out of the Bears, but yeah, next game. Detroit Lions, number 1 offense, number 32 defense, going up against the New England Patriots. Patriots get a nice fight there against Green Bay Packers last week. The Lions had a shootout against Seattle. Crazy high-scoring game of 45-48. They'd taken the L in that week, trying to play catch-up there against Geno Smith and the Seahawks. New England is a 3-point favorite here. Is that what I got right? Yeah, I like New England. I like the trouble that Belichick can give Jared Goff. Jared Goff is historically, if you can go back to when he was on the Rams, he's not very good on the zero blitz, where that's everybody's man to man and then everybody else is blitzing the quarterback. And the Patriots do that a lot. Jared Goff is not good at it. It's a big weak point, trying to run away and then find an open guy. And the Pats are a good team. They're their offense.
1 and 3.
We say it all the time. They're top 5 in the completion percentage, and they're also top 5 in yards per attempt. Like they're not just cheap, easy passes. They're making the ball move around. So I'm going Pats here.
Man,
that's your boys.
Nope, I'm going Detroit here. I don't care about a stat. They're scoring 35 points a game. All right, you're probably potentially. You're probably going to be right. The coaching staff in New England, if there's any coaching staff, period, in the NFL of all 32 teams, is there a squad that can exploit Jared Goff? I'm sure it's number 1 New England Patriots, probably number 2 Rams.
And I say that I wanted to say that because I mentioned first starting off is the fact that the Lions are the number 1 offense. If you can slow that offense, then you can have a field day against this defense. So that's the rest. You slow down that offense, you're gonna score because they've let up 19 touchdowns. The next closest defense that's given up touchdowns is 13. So
wow.
they're anyone's scoring any way they want right now.
But the quarterback situation's up in turmoil. I mean, it might not be Mac Jones again.
Yeah, it's doubtful.
He looked decent against the Packers, but we talked about how in some areas the Packers defense hasn't been successful.
When you're talking doubtful of the New England Patriots, he ain't playing. There ain't no way he's playing. That's a bad ankle injury. He ain't playing. And then you think Hoyer's going to come in and stand toe-to-toe with Goff. I'm taking the Lions here. They're tough. Normally, I would take coaching staff in this situation. I'm not taking this team because it's Goff. I'm taking this team because of the heart in which they have to fight and go out there and get the job done. I like it. I like everything Detroit is doing. I like the change of culture. I like everything, man. I like the coach. I like what he's saying in these these rallies and stuff like that. I'm going Detroit here, because I think they're a scrappy team and they have an opportunity. Will they? Can they? That's why we play on Sundays. So I don't know, Charlie.
Crazy, Ed. You're crazy, Ed.
Thank you. I'm taking the Detroit Lions here, bud. It's fun.
I love you, Ed. But you're going to sit there and tell me that the best defensive coach in the NFL is going to have trouble slowing down that offense.
No, I didn't say they were going to have trouble. I just said that they're a scrappy bunch, and I think they're going to put up points no matter what you do. And if they can't figure out a play to mess around with the zero blitz, then they shouldn't be coaching over there in Detroit. I think this scrappy bunch is going to put up a fight. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a hell of a game for the 1-3s. I'm taking a line.
Scrappy only gets you so far. I think Houston's scrappy. I still think they're the worst team in the league.
That's fine. I mean, Detroit's scrappy, but both teams are 1-3. So New England coaching staff ain't that good. So
New England is one of the worst teams in the league. If it wasn't for Bill Belichick, this is an insanely hard game to call. Like,
of course,
in my mind, I can see the Lions just pulling it out because I think this is just a really bad season for the Patriots. I think this is going to be a historically bad year for the Patriots. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. I didn't think so coming into the year.
We called it.
Being above 500, I think, is going to be quite troublesome for them. I want to say Patriots just because of all the intangibles. They're at home, Bill Belichick, and I know they're going to be able to run the ball on that Detroit defense. That's the part that worries me. I think Detroit's going to be able to score points. I think they're going to be able to manufacture some things, but I think at the end of the day, I put solace in defense, running the ball, and a higher coaching resume in Bill Belichick. I think this is like a 1-point game. I honestly do. And I'm not surprised that at the end of it, it's Detroit coming out with a win, but I'm going to take Patriots here. And I think that's just me playing on the safe side. Like, I really do have a strong case for the Lions coming out on top because they've run the ball phenomenally, but that's what I got.
I just think it's a tough matchup for the Lions. They're a great team.
It is.
They've faced, outside of the Eagles, they faced a lot of subpar defenses here. Like
it's just
I said,
not the same. It's just not the same Patriots on the other side. That's what bothers me.
It's not, but they're
right.
Still, we talk scrappy all the time, and they're in a team scrappier than a team that could take it to Green Bay and put them into overtime when they're a 10-point underdog.
I like it. Yeah. Look, man, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm a closet Detroit and Texans fan because I don't know. I like them two teams.
I hope Lions win. I'd like to see that Lion regime change and let them boys get going and let them build and let that defense look like something other than a paper bag, a wet paper bag over there
with holes in it.
Yeah. So, but I got to go with the safe bet. I got to go the easy. I won't say easy, but I got to go with the safer, smarter choice with the Patriots. But I'd love to see the Lions win this one. All right. Next game though, Seattle Seahawks. Crazy win over there against the Lions. We're just talking about it. And they're going against the Saints, who just had a disappointing loss there in London, getting a double doinker missed field goal there at the end, not to go into overtime. This is a tough game to call.
100%.
Andy Dalton is starting for the Saints again. Yeah. The Saints are, I just wanted to add, Saints are a 5-point favorite here. Andy Dalton looked good last week. He's starting again. Michael Thomas is out again. Alvin Kamara is questionable to actually be back this week. And that would be huge because Seattle is the second worst run defense in the league right now. You saw, Swift and Williams, having a field day last week. So because of that, I gotta go the Saints. I gotta take with the points here. I gotta go the Saints. I understand what Seattle did last week, but I also think they did that against the Lions, who I just said have the worst defense in the league. We just talked about that. So this Saints defense,
Pretty good.
they're a fighting defense. They're hard hitting. It's similar to that 49ers defense that beat down the Seahawks there in week 2. So I gotta go Saints here.
I'm sorry, man. I can't agree with anybody that is that's going to pick that quarterback over anybody else. Him starting is just the reason why I'm going against anything that New Orleans is going to do. I think because I'm not a big fan of Red Rifle, right? Andy Dalton. I don't think that I don't think in the fourth quarter that defense is still going to be refreshed enough to continue to play at that elite level. If the defense is on the field the whole time because the offense isn't putting anything up, and you got to hang your hat on an injured Alvin Kamara to come in and try and dominate a game, I think that's a huge ask as well. I'm going to go Seattle here just because Bo Amafe on the edge has been playing really good. And I know you say their defense is really good. That offensive line, the 2 studs that they've drafted have been playing really well. Abraham Lucas has been playing really, really good ball. I also like Cross on the other side has been playing really, really well coming out of college. I don't know, not the best against the pass, but those 2 against the run, especially Abraham Lucas against the run, is really, really, really tickling my fancy there. I love again, I said Bo Amafe, and then you got to talk the secondary. Quandre Diggs has been out for a while or a couple games, and then you got these 2 young guys, Michael Jackson and Traquan Woolen, who's been playing decent ball, and I just think that they're going to just continue on. I'm jumping on the train here for Seattle, and I'm just gonna jump on them this week, and I'm gonna take them over the New Orleans Saints, who are definitely struggling. I'm not gonna lie, they always have a defense that comes and plays. Brady, I agree with you 100%, but that team, man, when you got everybody on the same page, Pete Carroll's gonna bring them boys to play. And I think this is going to be a pretty close game. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think because of New Orleans defense, and plus Seattle, I think that I'm going Seattle here. I'm going to take Seattle. I'm going to take Geno Smith against the Saints defense. It sounds crazy just speaking it out loud, but good for Geno, having an incredible season already up till this point. So I'd like to see him carry it on one more week, and I think he can do it against Andy Dalton and them not being able to stay on the field, getting a couple 3-and-outs. Defense starts getting tired. Things start opening up, in which in the first and second quarter they weren't. You win games in the third quarter. I think Seattle can do it. I'm going Seattle, Char. I don't know. How about you?
Saints at home. This is going to be a tough one for the Seahawks. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball as well as they did last week. I don't think it's going to be as easy on them as it was last week facing Detroit. You're absolutely right as far as having much faith in Andy Dalton. I don't. But I think Saints at home, I think Saints defense, and they have enough to win this game to me. I'm shaky on whether I would take the points with Seattle or not, because I feel like Seattle's going to be in just about every game because they're that type of team. I do look forward to watching the matchup with Woolen and Olave, the 2 rookies going head-to-head whenever they do end up matching up. But I think at the end of the day, I think the Saints at home, I think they bring home the W.
You guys like the Woolen Olave matchup. I like the Lattimore DK matchup because that's
I do that too. Yeah,
Lattimore versus those big bodies that want the one-on-one that try to go for the jump ball. He's good. He shuts down Mike Evans, and he'll give DK a real tough time here this week.
Of course, yeah, they do go at it.
And the pass rush that the Saints provide, I think is going to be a little bit more heavier. It's going to be more similar to when they faced the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think Geno's going to have as much comfort in this game. And they have fast linebackers, Warner that Brady had highlighted early in the year playing good ball. And then they still got Demario Davis there running around too. So I think that Saints defense is the difference maker for me.
My internet cut out a little bit there. You touched on Pete Werner, right?
Yeah, I had said that you had brought him up early in the year off of week 1. Week 2 was playing good ball. I said the linebacking core with Demario Davis there as well, I think will, coupled with the pass rush that the Saints can provide, I think is going to be the difference with moving Geno around and not making things as comfortable as what he's kind of enjoyed last week.
I was just saying because I can add on to that because he is the leading tackler in the NFL right now by like 7 really? Tackles or something like that. Yeah, he's got a pretty far margin too.
But he was a stud at Ohio State.
Yeah, that'll be a good interesting game between some teams that are looking to move forward. So I'm looking forward to that game, especially since Saints are in my division. As much as I don't want to see them win, I think they're going to win this game.
I got Zaire Franklin right now, 54 tackles.
Being later,
huh?
For the Colts, he's got one more game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then it's Roquan Smith, Miles Jack, Jordan Brooks.
Next game, though, we got the Miami Dolphins, 3.5-point favorite, going into the New York Jets. Zach Wilson's back. He looked decent enough. He's shaky, but managed to get a win there against Pittsburgh. Dolphins, obviously, without Tua. I still think this Dolphins team is still a really good football team. They didn't really miss too much of a beat there when Teddy Bridgewater stepped in. He didn't make drives down the field. They were already losing at that point, and they made drives on the field, and he tried to keep the game close and score some more points. They did lose that game. But Zach Wilson is bad against the blitz. This is another one. I'm going to bring in some random stats here. But Zach Wilson's really bad against the blitz. He's never thrown a touchdown. He's thrown 3 interceptions. He's got a 43% completion percentage against the blitz. And the Dolphins are the most blitz-heavy team in the league. So they're going to give Zach Wilson trouble. My only fear with Miami is, we touched on it after the show when we were watching the game, is how left-handed that playbook is. And Teddy Bridgewater rolling out left just looks awkward. He's everything in that playbook is made for Tua being a left-handed thrower. So if they can flip everything, how difficult is that on all the players and the play calling and knowing their routes? Or if they don't flip anything, can the New York Jets exploit that extra half a second that Teddy has to turn to look because he has to look to the left because the main receiver's on the left or his checkdowns on his left, kind of stuff like that. That'll be an interesting how that works out. But I do go Miami here. I like Miami winning this one.
I gotta disagree, Brady. I'm gonna go Jets here. I just don't like what I've seen from Tua. I mean, from Bridgewater. I can't. I can't. I'm gonna go New York Jets here. I think that he'll have a better game this week. Wilson, Zach, he'll have a better game this week than he did last week, and I think it'll show in this game. And New York will edge it out. It's gonna be a close game. New York's gonna edge it out. I don't think Teddy's gonna put up too much of a fight. And New York always plays the Dolphins very well, and I don't expect this to be any different. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. It's an in-division rivalry. I'm going New York here. They've been playing decent ball. They beat a couple decent teams. I think the Jets have it in them to come and try and edge out Miami in this one. We'll see what Sauce Gardner can do. We'll see what that defense can do up against Waddle and Tariq. Tariq, I think, is questionable, but I'm sure he'll play. See what happens here. I just don't like Teddy Bridgewater. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Bridgewater fan. I respect the guy. He's been through a lot. Congratulations that he's still here and still on a team. He's a decent quarterback. I just don't like him in this game. I don't know about you, Char, but I'm going Jets.
Yeah, go ahead and pop the lock on the passenger seat. I'm gonna hop in with you on the Jets. I think this is maybe the best game of the week as far as competitiveness goes. I like what Brees Hall's been doing here lately. I love the weapons with the Jets and the weapons for Miami. Both of the speedsters are banged up, and they're banged up on their legs. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And then you factor in Teddy Bridgewater, which never excites me. I know he's going to be solid. I think this is going to be a situation where McDaniels is going to have to pull out the run game a little bit more and use a little bit more Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. I think this thing is going to go right down to the end. I think the smart plays, as far as the spread goes and stuff like that, I think you take the Jets with the 3 points at home. I very well could see Miami eking this one out by 1 or 2 points too, just because of that defense. That defense is going to give Zach some problems. But Zach didn't look terrible last week. He made a lot of plays, kept them in the game. They ultimately won that game. I still like Zach and what he's able to bring, and with so many weapons around him, it's tough for him to fall flat on his face. I kind of look at him as a Baker Mayfield type of situation where they had so much talent around in Cleveland that it was tough for Baker to fail as well. I feel like the minus the defensive side, the Jets are in that kind of boat with Zach Wilson at this point in time. So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Jets. It's a tough call, though. It's a tough call.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys are expecting a lot of that Jets team because, yeah, but we'll see. I mean,
they are there on offense. It's tough. The talent there on offense.
Talent's there. The offensive line's still pretty shaky. Zach Wilson holds on to the ball way too long. I think I saw he holds on for someone that's not a mobile quarterback, someone who's not scrambling and finding extra passes for a non-running quarterback. He holds onto the ball like a whole half a second longer than the next closest, pocket passer. So I don't like his scenario there versus this Dolphins defense that's blitz happy.
But they blitz happy, so I mean, if he can guess right, the weapons are there to take it to the house and to exploit a Miami secondary that's banged up at the corner position. I think Xavier Howard practiced this week. I think this was his first practice, but he's probably not going to be at 100%. They're missing Byron Jones, I think, for a long time.
Xavier Howard's questionable.
I think there's opportunities for the Jets to manufacture some points.
Yeah, fair enough. Before I wanted to go on, since Eddie wanted to correct me on the Pete Werner tackles, I wanted to finish what I was saying. Solo tackles. I got to circle back because in solo tackles, he leads the league. And the only person who does have more is Zaire Franklin, who has an extra game on him, and he's only gone up by 1 tackle. So I wasn't wrong. I just misspoke. I guess I didn't elaborate saying solo tackles. Thank you, Eddie.
So he's personally making better plays.
He's making those tackles when they count. He don't need help. He don't need that help.
Brady took that personally. You had to throw out 2 names, Eddie. You would have been good. He just would have left it at 1, but then you had to drop another name. He's like, oh no.
Because I knew I wasn't wrong. I just had to make sure I told the full story, I guess.
There we go.
But
that's beautiful. Y'all both are on the ball like that. So
apology accepted, Brady.
But yeah, we can move on to this next game though. We got the Atlanta Falcons 2-2 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-2. Battle for the NFC South lead right now.
Wow.
Tampa's a 10-point favorite. They started at a 9-point favorite at the beginning of the week. They've jumped up a whole point, up to 10 now. I'd be much more fearful of the Atlanta Falcons if they had Cordell Patterson. Not even the fact that Kyle Pitts isn't in this game. It's that Cordell Patterson is not in this game because that man is an animal at the run game. This Atlanta offensive line is the number 2 run offensive line in the league. And Arthur Smith, before I go into Arthur Smith, while Tyler Algier had a pretty good game last week stepping in for him, Arthur Smith does well with the bigger running backs. Tyler Algier guy is, 5'10", 210, 220 maybe, which is when Arthur Smith's used to with a Derrick Henry and a Cordell Patterson, who are both 6'3" in the 230, 240 range. Guys who can hit the hole and then are fast. So I'd be much more fearful if Cordell Patterson was in this because they're not good against the run. They have terrible completion percentage. Mariota just needs to not turn the ball over, but he's still turning the ball over. So I'm going to go Bucks here as in like a also in the fact of this is a get right game. They just got embarrassed by KC on Sunday Night Football. So this is a get right game for the Bucks. They need this one. They need their first home win of the season. So I'm going Bucks.
Do you feel like this is a game where they're able to cover that spread though? I mean, as scrappy as the Falcons have been.
Looking at the Bucks as we even went the history of Tom Brady being here, even before that, the Bucks. Every game I've ever been to, the Bucks have never let me sit in my chair happy. It's always been a nightmare. Are we going to win this game? Please don't turn the ball over. Please don't let them drive down the field and score. Like every single time, it's a nightmare. Every time he keeps close. I could see it being like a 9-point game. Like that 9 point would make me feel a little bit better to cover the spread. The 10, a 2-score favorite here. It's a bigger difference. I gotta go, because they don't have Kyle Pitts, so you're basically only focusing on Drake London. Drake London and the one other guy outside there, who's they're both doing decent. But if that's the only dude you're worrying about, it's a different ball game.
Pitts is out, huh? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this Falcons team. Like I just can't put I really just feel like this is going to be a bad game for the Bucks. That Atlanta's just going to come in and and be a problem for them. Sometimes the numbers just literally don't tell the whole story sometimes numbers, like the Bucks, they're only rushing for 65 yards a game. Is that right? I mean, it's pretty one-dimensional. It's pretty easy to stop.
Again, we talk about numbers in certain games, how they can skew it ridiculously. If you take away that KC game, it jumps up to like 95, Yeah.
I'm not going to bet against Brady, but I'm telling you, I'm trying to devise a case here on why, but, because it's like I don't have much faith in Mariota. You got Pitts out. The defense has been playing, well enough to keep them in. Yeah, I don't like Cordell Patterson not being in there, and then outside of that, you're just looking for somebody to just really step up and just shine like this rookie you guys are talking about, Tyler Agler?
Yeah, Al-Jair.
Al-Jair.
Something like
BYU.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa. Man, I love Drake London and what he's been doing, though. I don't know anybody on the Bucks that's going to be able to cover him and just shut that down. You're going to have to double team him. That's the only way I see that happening. And then, now it's what I'm saying. It's exactly what I'm saying. Now it's the Bucks are going to force you to show us who else you got, And I just don't like whoever else they got. There's no Pitts. I'm going Bucks here. I want to go Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta somehow, it's one of them divisional games, bro. It's like they end up winning, and you're like, how? How did they win? I'm going Bucks. What about you, Char? I want to go with Atlanta.
What's that?
I want to go Atlanta, but I'm going Bucks. Bucks it is. Final offer.
I think it's Bucks. I think Brady hit on a bunch of key points for me too, which was Patterson, get right game off of last week, divisional matchup, and Tom Brady eats at Atlanta's dinner table.
Yeah.
He shows
9-0 or 13-0 against Atlanta.
He pulls the whole tablecloth over to him, and the Bucks offense looked good having their weapons back last week. I don't think that's going to change much. You're right, Eddie. They got to run the ball better. But that game script, you're right, last week had it very skewed.
Yeah.
But I do think Atlanta manages to cover the spread. I think it's a little big. I think Mariota, being mobile as he is going to be able to cause some problems for that soft, cover two shell that they've been working on a lot of non-mobile quarterbacks to this point. But I think in the end, Patterson not being there to add that dynamic option to the Atlanta attack is going to be an issue. I agree. I don't think the Bucks have somebody to necessarily go man to man with what London has showed me so far this year. But on the same token, I don't think Mariota can sit there and dot you apart either.
Right.
To your point about not having faith in Mariota too, but he does bring a dynamic that I think will cause the Bucks some problems. But on the same token too, the Bucks linebackers I wouldn't be surprised if this is the end for Mariota. He gets hurt, and we see Ritter by the end of this game too.
Wow, hot take.
Yeah, yeah. No, I want to see Ritter. I really do. I was talking to a couple of Atlanta fans, and they want to see Ritter too. As good as this season's been for Atlanta, and
that was my guy.
As played.
That was my guy. That was most pro-ready quarterback that I was, from everything that I was hearing and everything I was listening to. It was Ritter. Like, it should have been Ritter. Ritter should have been the first one. I don't know why he wasn't. Somebody seen something else, and Pickett's homegrown in that state. That's why you got that there. That's why they stretched and was like, look, give us the guy, But yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, back. I liked what I saw out of Ritter too. I thought he was the best quarterback in this draft as well. And he looked good in the preseason as well. But yeah, I think this is Bucks. I think it's a little bit closer than what they would like at the end of the game. But at the end of the day, I think they handle business, and this is a W for them.
Yeah, this is an easy game for them to come out and rush. This should be the game that the Bucks come out and try to run the ball. They're letting up 126 yards. They're allowing 126 yards. I think that this is definitely a game to the Bucks try and come out and be balanced. Don't have to make these receivers do too much. You stay balanced, control the clock, and you take one home. Take one home at home.
The Bucks seem to get cute against Atlanta, though. Like they seem to let Atlanta hang around in the games previous, especially the one at home last year. Atlanta had no business being in there, and it took a pick six, I believe. I forget who ended up getting it, but to really add the separation at the end of the game, and that was with a non-mobile Matt Ryan. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it's Bucks.
Yeah,
for all the reasons Brady said, definitely.
Yeah, Bucks. Tom Brady's hard to go against.
Yeah, both of you guys had touched on a guy that you didn't know who would be able to one-on-one with Greg London, and I can say this as a Bucks fan that Jamel Dean is a top 5, top 7 ranked corner right now in the league. Now I can also counter my own argument, the fact that he's getting a lot less target shares when the guy across from next to him is Carlton Davis, who everyone has just been picking on. So there's that's another one of those skewed statistics that could be in the thing. But Jamel Dean has been a top-notch corner this year.
Dean struggled last year, though, didn't he? Obviously, he was banged up with the ankle and stuff like that early.
He did, but they didn't know where to put him. And then this year, he beat out Sean Murphy-Bunting for that CB2 spot. Carlton Davis is supposed to be our CB1. He's getting bullied. I don't know what's changed. I guess I can say I think I know what's being changed with the fact that they're making him play soft coverage and zone versus him being a man press guy. But I don't know. That's that. I trust Todd Bowles, and if it's not working, he'll change it.
That hurt Nambi in Philly. Nambi was a shutdown corner, and he played man-to-man for the Raiders. Contract got let up. He went down to Philly. I heard a lot of rumblings about how he was never really that good, this, that, and the third. A lot of people didn't talk in that argument that they were making that some guys, no matter what you want to say about them, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, linebackers, some guys are system guys, and they only flourish in certain systems. You take him out of that system and force him to do something else, like play zone. Now he doesn't look like the corner he was. I'm just saying, Nambi is a solid example of why would you take him from the Raiders playing man to man, damn near best corner in the league with D'Angelo Hall at the exact same time. You pluck him, you put him over there, and then you say, all right, bud, now play zone, step back. It just sometimes it's just not.
For sure, and you're absolutely right. It was a complete 180 of his career.
So maybe there's some substance to exactly what Brady's saying, where hey, you let him play man and he flourished, and now you're asking him to do something that he may or may not be as good at as he was doing something else. So
good observation.
We'll move on. Next game here, though, we got
one.
The Tennessee Titans 2-2. 2-point favorite going into the Washington Commanders 1-3 here. Titans had that win against Indy last week, and then the Commanders ended up getting beat up by Dallas. The Commanders ran into two teams back-to-back with very good pass rush. Now they get Titans, who aren't, top-notch pass rush this year.
Autry.
They've got a few guys, but they're not top-notch.
No, they're not top. But Dego Autry's climbing the sack pole every day, man.
like I said, they got some good guys there, but there's a league difference between when you're facing a pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles or the pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys.
No,
they're a whole different level of ball game.
I can't argue that.
This will be a tough matchup.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I gotta go Titans here. I like the run game of Henry. They're working their way back up. This defense is making steps up off of the first 2 weeks where they looked a little ugly. So I gotta go Titans. I don't like what the Commanders are giving me. They have the ability to throw and make this a scary game and make the Commanders have like a 32 to 15 game, or 32-17 game, like a bad blowout for Commanders versus Titans, because they have the weapons between Scary Terry and Curtis Samuel. Being Curtis Samuel number one target there right now for the Commanders. But I got to go Titans here. This defense is making their strides, and I like the run game.
Well, I've been stuck on this game for 3-4 days now. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been talking about it all week.
I can't. I just, for the damn life of me, you look at the numbers, points per game. Titans 18-8, Washington 18-3. Come on, dude, really? Points allowed per game, 25-3 Titans. Commanders are giving up 26.8. Would you come the hell on, bro? Are you serious? Total yards 299.8, 358.3 at the Commanders. Okay, you keep going. You're just like, all right.
Hey, one more. And that's kind of why I brought up pre-show about Tannehill versus Wentz. Both passing defenses, league high, giving up in passing touchdowns at 10.
And each, yep.
Just to add more, you don't know, to the spice.
And then you look at Tannehill, 67 of 101, 107 for Wentz. Complete threw for 172, completed 177. Tannehill's got 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Wentz 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I mean, Wentz has more yards, but he's got way more attempts. He's got more attempts than Tannehill's got completions. I mean, or attempts. I mean, it's Wentz has more completions than Tannehill has attempts. I mean, that's got to tell you something, right? They're going to come out and run the ball. I don't know. Washington's giving up 112 yards. I'm going to Titans. I'm going to whatever Brady said. I'm taking the Titans. I was going to, because I was
flip-flop.
I was standing on the Commanders, right? Because I was going to take the Commanders because Brian Robinson's back in the building. I don't know if anybody paid attention to Washington. He's been shot 2 times by a carjacking in Baltimore during the preseason. They tried to jack him. He fought those guys off, survived the incident, and now he is on the active roster. This guy's built different. Having that in the building, in the locker room, having that on grounds, it gives you motivation when you didn't have any. This is like that quiet little thing that helps a team to get to the next level. This is that one thing to push you over the hump, to get an entire room full of people together, all on the same page, together, to make them be a team, to gel, the continuity, and get all that going and have a reason. Sometimes this is what it takes. Something like this, another kind of incident, an injury.
Are you flopping?
No,
you flopping over?
I'm saying why for 3 days I was going to take Washington. It wasn't because of chicken tender ankles, Carson Wentz.
Definitely.
But I'm sticking with the Tennessee Titans, Charlie. I don't know. How about you? It's tough, man. It's a tough one.
Not for that reason, but I'm gonna go with the better quarterback so far this year, and it's Carson Wentz. And I can't really. Well, no, it's not.
Better. Why? Better. Why?
Never...
Yards better.
Yeah, production. Right. I like. I don't like a whole lot about this game. It's tough, and I don't think by the winner of this game is going to increase in a level. I don't like either one of these teams on the season. I think both of them are destined to miss the playoffs, and it's a wash season for both of them for different reasons. But I think the Commanders come out on top on this one. If I was laying money down, I'd take Commanders with the points. But I think they're going to win this outright. Not pretty, but I like the weapons on the Commanders better than I do the weapons on the Titans right now. They've got speed, they've got athleticism, and a defensive line that can produce. They're at home. I think all those factors are the reason why I end up going with them.
Yeah, if it was any other team other than the Commanders, I'd be taking them. I just don't. Almost any other team, because I don't think I would take Houston. But I don't trust Wentz, because if the going gets tough, he's going to find a way to lose. You know,
but Tannehill is too, though. I mean,
but on the year, but at least he has Henry he can rely on,
and he doesn't have as many interceptions.
Don't have a backup plan outside of letting Wentz hopefully play a good game, and he should have a good game this game, because the Titans are letting quarterbacks have their highest passer rating each time they play the Titans.
In four games, Wentz has 5 interceptions, 8 touchdowns. I mean, that's just, I mean,
17 times.
Come on, man. I mean, that's, you're just forcing stuff too much. You're just forcing.
They're a bad team. They're a bad team, and I mean, that's what you do.
We know Tannehill's capable, but like Charlie said, I mean, like Brady said, Char, you got Derrick Henry to hand the ball off to. I mean, you also got some other studs that, we're fans of in the running back there. What is Hillard? Hassan? Hassan, is it Hassan Haskins?
Out of Michigan, yeah.
They got Hassan Haskins, and they have Hillard. Hilliard, not Hillard. Hilliard, decent sized running back. So you got 3 backs with different skill sets. I like it. And I mean, I think that they'll be able to lean on that a little bit more in this game. But yeah, you're right. They do have up front, but they have the Washington Commanders up front on the D line has not produced since that year we talked about them being an elite defense.
I like the quick weapons on offense for the
Commanders. Like the receivers.
You got McLaurin, you got Curtis Samuel, you got the rookie Dotson, which is banged up. He might go, might not. And I like the tight end Logan Thomas. And Gibson, if he doesn't put the ball on the ground, he's a good running back. He's good enough to keep that offense in position to put some points on the board. By no means I'm open about Carson Wentz being a bad quarterback at this point in his career. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what you said there, because when I agreed, or what I touched on it when I was saying this is an easy game if the Commanders, with all their weapons, to go up and make it an ugly game of like 34-17 or whatever I had said. But it's a hard game for me a hard scenario for me to see that this game playing out that way. You see it playing that way, maybe not playing that heavily, but you see it with them being.
This is a hard one to trust either way.
Yeah, but we can move on. Next game. Texans 0-3-1 going into Jacksonville Jaguars 2-2. Both teams coming off a loss. Texans losing